Hey, Honesties. Welcome back to another episode of Honesty the Podcast with your host, Zena, aka Top Tier Z, where I keep it raw, I keep it real, and I keep it risky. Today's episode is another solo. Y'all know I like doing these. So, my producer's going to kick off my fast five of Would You Rather, and I'm just going to brace myself because I never know what he has coming for me, but we'll see what's up today.
So, would you rather be the funniest person in the room or the most intelligent person in the room?
Oh, give me funny, no doubt. Because if I'm the most intelligent person in the room, then what am I learning? And who am I learning from? Like, it's a no-brainer. I want to be funny.
Mm, So you want to? So,
What?
what if your jokes are not funny though?
You just said the funniest person in the room, so there's no guarantee that I'm not funny.
Got you.
Duh.
Just want to pull your leg.
Try harder.
Would you rather wear your jean be one size too small, or your shoes be two sizes too big?
What the hell? My jeans gotta be a size too small. I can pull up a little rise, but I got baby feet. I'm wearing sneakers today, so they can see. I'm a size 5. Like, I am not about to walk around here this 7 looking like a clown. I don't care how many pairs of socks you put on. It's a hard no. I'll take a yeast infection from the tight jeans than to be tripping over my feet all day. Absolutely not.
uh, so tight jeans it is.
Yeah. Tight, tight.
Would you rather never age physically or
Mm.
never age mentally?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Um, physically, that's a no-brainer. Never age
Then
physically.
you're gonna be a little kid.
Wait, you said would I rather to never age physically or to never age mentally? No, I'm right. I would never age physically. I would be a little genius. They're gonna think
Jeans my ass.
they're gonna be like, damn, she look young as hell, but she's smart as hell. Dad,
Yeah, all right.
I gotta age mentally. Like, with age comes wisdom, they say.
So would you rather date someone your family loves and your friends despise, or date someone that your friends love and your family despise?
Ooh, sheesh. Um, I think for a lot of people this could be a no-brainer, but for me, I don't know. Because I don't really. Okay, hold on. Ooh, maybe someone my
Got you thinking, huh?
Damn, I don't know. I'm just
Uh-uh.
gonna just because I have to give an answer, I'm just gonna say someone my family despises. Because my family gonna love me regardless. Like my friends may stop being my friend. They may,
Mm, mm.
And like honestly though, I don't really hang out with my family that much. Like I hang out with my friends and my significant other more than my family. Yeah, so that's what I'm going with today. That can change
Well,
though.
that leads us to the last question.
Okay. I'm like, these four were not so bad.
Would you rather nobody showed up to your wedding or no one showed up to your funeral?
Ooh, my wedding. Then I gotta spend less money. The hell I care. Is my man there? Am I
But
getting married?
what if he didn't show?
Oh, then. That's not a
That's part
question.
of the
That's
no
not a
show.
question.
That's part of the no show. You're left at the altar by yourself as a priest.
Listen, we gonna have a good
You
time.
gonna
I'm gonna eat
marry
my
yourself?
cake. I'm gonna eat my food, and I'm gonna be looking damn good. So his loss. Nah, but for real though, if no one shows up
Nobody
to
showed
my
to your
funeral, I
funeral?
would never know. Like, I would never know, honestly speaking.
Yeah, you will. You're gonna be looking now.
I
Oh damn, man. Nobody loved me.
I would spite them. Come back and haunt y'all. I'm a ghost. Yeah, no one can show up to my funeral, actually. Damn. Now I'm switching. I'm gonna stick to wedding. I'm gonna stick to wedding.
So which one is it?
Wedding.
Mm,
Yeah. Final answer.
okay. Well,
Whew. Well, thank you. That concludes my fast five. That was actually fast for once. So today I am going to get into a couple different topics and conversations. And I do just want to start off by saying the election is officially done. Like, you guys can officially stop talking about it now. Like, congrats to Trump. Congrats to who won. You know, the votes didn't lie. And just accept it for what it is at this point. Like, you have people crying. You have people still arguing. Go back to loving your families and reconcile with your loved ones because a lot of y'all then lost some friends and put distance between your family members and all these things, and it's like, okay, well, it's done. There's nothing you can do about it now but accept it. Do what you need to do for yourself to move forward, and yeah, that's really it. Like, all the internet hoopla, we can put that to rest now. um you can still feel how you feel, but I feel like just keep it at a minimum. Like, no one really cares anymore. I know I don't. And y'all know I don't talk politics, but I just had to like get that out there, because we are in November and that just happened for the United States. So it's feel like I had to say that. But anyway, moving on away from politics, because y'all know that is not my wheelhouse, and I'm not gonna pretend for it to be. As a parent personally, I do. Actually, I'm gonna let my producer ask me this question because he feels very strongly about this.
so you want me to ask that question?
I
Okay. So,
do.
being as a parent, co-parenting, even living with the other parent, like, do you feel like you have to have some kind of consent to where the child goes, to when the father wants to go someplace or do something with the child? Do you have to have some kind of confirmation?
Hmm.
Do you have to know every time? Do you have to feel that you are that overprotective about the child?
Yes and no. And it's definitely situational because to me it's based on the child's age. So obviously if it's something that's not age friendly to them, then yeah, I would like to know and give my consent because in most cases, especially if you're a mother who's involved and a mother who enjoys being a mother, like you care. And I'm not saying the father doesn't care, but I do feel like most moms are just more helicopterish, right? Um Now, at the end of the day, you chose this man to be the father to your child, right? So you should trust his discernment. You should trust that he also knows what's best for his kid and that he wouldn't put his kid in any danger or anything like that. So I don't think it's every time, to be honest with you. Like, for example, I used to say like, oh, when my daughter's dad like started dating, like someone seriously, I would like to meet her before my daughter met her. And that wasn't the case. Like my daughter definitely told me she met her a couple times. They went to dinner. She's driven with her, yada yada yada. And every time he was present. So in that case, it's a no, right? However, if my daughter was being left alone with this person, I would have liked to have met this person beforehand. So when he didn't give me the respect of letting me know, like, hey, I'm dating someone seriously, and our daughter may meet her or whatever, whatever, then I didn't feel the need to reciprocate that to him, right? So my daughter met my man. We've been on family outings, trick or treating, all that stuff. And he doesn't know. He hasn't met my man because again, if he had given me that respect to introduce me to his girl, then I would have reciprocated that. So I just personally didn't feel the need to. But yeah, I feel like you should trust that your child's father or mother, the other parent, has their best interest at heart, especially if they haven't shown you or given you a reason to be worried or concerned. Um, I actually that takes me to Halle Bailey. Haley Bailey. Y'all know what I'm talking about in DDG, right? She was like, "Oh, I'm postpartum, and I would want to know that my son was being taken to this live stream, and yada yada yada." And then a couple days later, she came back and was like, she realized she overreacted, and when she first posted it, the first thing I go doing is looking through the comments. Like, I am gonna go directly to the comments. And no one really was agreeing with her because everyone was like, well, your son has already been shown on the internet. Like, his father's constantly displaying him. No one, it's not like you guys were keeping him a secret or whatever, and now boom, there's millions of people viewing him. At first, I did kind of see where she was coming from because, like, sometimes Kai Cenat, he does like some wild, obnoxious things or whatever on these live streams, but I don't think Kai would put a child in harm's way or anything like that. So when Hattie came back and, said she overreacted, obviously, I guess she had to have a conversation with DDG. But from what I've seen personally, DDG has always shown himself to be a dad who's well capable of taking care of his son. Like, he looks like he loves his son so, so, so much. So, yeah, I mean, to wrap it up, I don't think you need consent every time. I think if you are a little not confused, but indecisive, like, hey, is this appropriate for our baby? Is our baby gonna be okay in this space? And I'm not saying baby as a baby, but just as a child, then you should definitely consult that other parent just to get another opinion, right? But no, you don't have to check in every time you want to take your child somewhere, do something with them. Like, again, you chose that person. If they haven't given you a reason to question their parenthood, whether it's mother or father, then you let them be a parent. Because how would you feel if you had to check in with the other parent every time you wanted to do something with your child? Like, no, I don't think anyone wants that. Speaking of kids, I don't know, lately I feel like God has me like a child whisperer. Like, and I'm gonna share the story with you guys. So I went to Orlando with my job last month. We stayed at the Four Seasons, which is a Disney property. And if you don't know, Disney World is in Orlando. So one night, my some of my colleagues and I, we do like the late night party on this like terrace area that they designated to us. So I was walking through the lobby and I don't know why. I think I probably had gone to the restroom or I went to go check on a room service order or whatever. And I see this little girl and her dad, this little white girl. And it's like 1 a.m. This girl is giving her father like such a hard time. He's trying to take her to the room. I remember there was like a planter, so in the corner, she held on to the vase. It was a big plant. And like as he's trying to pick her up, she's just holding on, not letting go. No, daddy, no, I'm not going with you. I'm not going with you. And the mom was there with the stroller too. And eventually the mom just went to the room. She was like, I'm not dealing with this. You already are own tonight. And at first, I judge. I definitely was like, this child is out of hand. Like, girl, go to your bed. Like, if this were my parents back in the day, like, I would have had one slapped upside my head. Like, my parents were not this patient, right? So me and some of my colleagues, we're just here like judging, talking smack or whatever. And like honestly, y'all, after like 15 minutes, I was like, I can't take it anymore. Like, I was like, I'm gonna go interject. And my colleagues were like, no, Zena, oh my God, you can't do that. And I'm like, everyone, calm down. Like, I'm a mom. I got this. So I approach the kid and I'm just like, why are you being mean to daddy? I get down to her level and she's like, because daddy doesn't respect me. And I'm like, okay, how old are you? She's like 4. So I'm like, what's your name? She tells me her name. And I'm like, why do you say daddy doesn't respect you? And she tells me, he woke up from his sleep and she's very upset now. So I'm like, daddy, did you apologize for being mean and not respecting her? So he gets down to her level and apologizes. And I'm like, do you accept daddy's apology? She's like, no, I'm still mad at him. And so I like kind of had to introduce forgiveness to her, like daddy's a human. Daddy made a mistake by waking you up because you guys were here. You should forgive daddy because now it's just in your heart where you're just upset at him and you're giving him a hard time and you're tired, but you're fighting, and long story short, I was able to walk them up to their room. I think whatever floor they were on, took the elevator, walked them up, and I came back down and she gave me a hug and everything. By the time I dropped them off, she was holding her dad's hand. It looked like she was way more like calm and not so much in the mood that she was before. And when I came back and rejoined my colleagues, they're like, "Where were you?" And I'm like, "I walked them to their room." And they were like shocked because they were like, "Oh my God, like you really, what? They let you go there?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And as a parent, I think sometimes it's so hard, even as a first time parent, like kids are just difficult in general, right? But it's hard to look at someone else's kid act away in a way that you may never like be okay with your child acting and judge, like, because that's the first thing I did. I was just, oh my God, like I would never, my daughter would never. And I don't know, something in me just told me like give them grace, like I see him trying. He is very patient, and that's one thing I do respect. I did respect about the father. He was very patient despite her like just giving him a hard time. He was never aggressive, did not raise his voice, wasn't forceful, you know? And that empathy sometimes as parents, like you just need someone else who understands, like I don't think he expected anyone to come in and try to diffuse the situation and or to help him per se. And like he was just so grateful, like, oh my God, like thank you so much. Like I don't know what I would have done. And there are so many moments, me as a parent, where I felt like I didn't have that, like I was one of the first of my friend groups to have kids, right? So I didn't really have anyone, maybe minus my grandma, who was like, let me help you, let me talk to the child for you, And I remember during those times, like my mom would always say, like, oh, the way my grandma would treat my daughter, they never got that from my grandma, if that makes sense. So my grandma grew up, she was born in 1926. So she grew up in the Caribbean, I guess, in a time where gentle parenting did not exist. Like it was, this is what your parents told you, this is what you're going to do, point blank, period. So for my mom, seeing how soft and gentle my grandma was with my daughter, she, I guess there was some resentment to some extent, but also it was a beautiful thing for her to see that transformation, So I just felt like in that time I needed to, as a parent, like this is what I would want. So this is what I'm going to give. And I just want to just bring more light to like just be more gracious to parents. Cause again, especially whether you have kids or not, like I feel like if you have kids, then you should definitely be more understanding. But sometimes when you don't have children, it's a little hard to even like put yourself in that space, right? Like, oh, this just came to my head. Like, as a parent, your job is to nurture, but sometimes as parents, we need to be nurtured as well. Ooh, look at me. Let that girl cook. Now, let me stop. But yeah, and I think that takes me to another story that happened last week. I was like, what is God trying to tell me these days? Like, what's up, God? I'm listening. But I was walking home from work and it was probably like 5:30. So I live in a condo and there's like maybe six condos in a row and then there is a house, right? So as I'm walking up the first house past the condos, I see this little kid sitting on the stoop, like sad, crying. And like first I kept on walking because I was like, girl, you gotta go film. Like you got 30 minutes with your child. In addition to changing before getting going back to the city to film. Because I filmed at 7 that day. Yes. and my man was taking me. So luckily I had some time to go home or whatever. But initially I walked past this little boy, and then I looked back and he was like staring in my direction. So I walk up to him. I was just like, are you okay? And he's like, no. And I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, I'm locked out. My mommy's not home. I'm like, do you have a phone? No. How old are you? 7. So I'm like, oh my God, like 7. Like my daughter's 8, but like they're still babies, Like to me, kids are kids until they're like 18, really. Even anyway, kids are always gonna be kids to me. I can't help it. Like my daughter's always gonna be my little baby. But I call my man and I'm like, I have a dilemma. Like I explained the situation to him. I'm like, what do I do? Like, do I take him to my house? And he's like, yeah, you have to. And I'm like, okay. And so I need to write his mom a note, leave it somewhere for her, letting her know, like, he's at my house. This is my address. This is my phone number, or whatever. And I like asked him his name. I told him my name. I walked him to my house and we got there. I offered him some snacks or whatever, introduced my daughter and my niece to him, and to the point where like my daughter helped him do his homework and all these things or whatever. And in that moment, like for me personally, it was just like if my daughter was ever in that situation, knock on wood, because she will never be, um, I would want someone, an adult, to care for her, right? You know that saying, do unto others as you like done unto you. Like treat people's kids the way you would want people to treat your kid. Like although I didn't know this kid from a hole in the wall, although I only had 30 minutes with my daughter before coming to the city to film, like I was still able to create one, a safe space for this child to feel comfortable enough to even come with me and be at my home. And then two, like to for my daughter to like be willing to help him with his math homework. I think that's a reflection of how I raised her. But as I said, like it's just important to treat kids the way you want someone to treat your own, or to treat a family member of yours if you don't have kids, a niece or a nephew or whatever. Because God forbid, had it had been someone else who didn't have a pure heart and good intentions, who stumbled across this child before me, like who knows how that could have ended. And I live in a very residential neighborhood. I live in Canarsie. My block is busy. It's a two-way street. Cars are constantly going up and down, so you just never know who could have seen that little boy. But again, I don't know what God is trying to tell me with kids lately, but I've been listening, and I think I've just been more empathetic, all in all, more considerate, not only to the kid, but the parents as well. His mom came, I would say, after 40 minutes and told me about the bus dropping him off and all these things, and she was extremely thankful. I don't think she was. Because when I told the story the night up to my engineer, my guests or whatever, they were like, "Oh my god, she should have been wailing and crying," and I don't feel like she did enough, honestly speaking. Like me personally, as a mother, like what I probably would have dropped to my knees, like because I don't know, but she didn't seem too concerned, if that makes sense, and yeah, um, I did my part, that's all I could do. And in the future, again, if my child is ever in any situation, I would hope an adult will do the same for her, or just create some care or a safe space for her. You're late. Um, but I say all of this to say like it truly does takes a village to raise a child, whether it's your own, whether it's just it takes a village, period. And some of us are lucky to have found that village ways ahead. And some of us are building that village, but whichever stage you are in with it, again, like give yourself grace, make sure you are around people you trust, and be around people who can nurture you and nurture your child as well. Speaking of nurturing, Nurture your feelings in relationships. Now, I don't know. That's a bad segue. Goddamn, Zena. I was trying, but it's just not the segue. Sometimes I'm OD smooth with it, and sometimes it's a little struggle. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I just don't have it in me right now for a smooth segue. But I want to speak about the importance of being vocal in relationships or while dating and like vocalizing your needs, your boundaries, your expectations, and so forth. I feel like oftentimes, especially when dating, a lot of us may not, especially as women, sometimes. Honestly, though, this has never been an issue of mine because I have no problem getting men. But like, sometimes as women, like you want to be chosen so badly and you just want to be picked. What do you pick me? Um, that you feel like if I let him know I'm not okay with this or I require more of this, like he may think I'm difficult and he's gonna leave me or not want to date me anymore. Then cool, sis, let him go. Like it's that simple. If you cannot respectfully vocalize what you need in a relationship or while dating someone, if the intent is to grow into a relationship, that's not the person for you. It's really that simple. Like in my relationship currently, I am very vocal. I've just always been a vocal person. I've never been one to shy away from my feelings or expressing my feelings because I feel like it's unfair to the other person if I don't let you know, hey, I need this, hey, I'm not happy with that, whatever, that if I don't tell my partner what I'm okay with, what I need more of, yada yada yada, then eventually if I'm not getting it right, I'm gonna grow resentment towards that person. And since this is honesty though, I do want to be honest with y'all. Like I do feel like in my relationship, I lack, well, not my relationship, because next week's episode you're gonna get more clarity on that. But I do feel like I want more affection. Like I need more affection. It's not even a want, right? Because as a child, like I just my household, I don't remember getting a lot of affection. Like, yeah, we were told I love you, but like as far as like hugging and like physical touch, it just wasn't prevalent, right? And for a long time in dating, when men would give me physical affection, I'm like, oh my God, you're clingy. It's too much. Like I just wasn't used to it. But the older I get, I realize that it's something that I truly require because it's something I didn't have. And I'm not okay with not having it. You get what I'm saying? So I am very vocal, like, hey, I need more of this. I need more affection. And it's up to him to want to give me that. But if he doesn't, then I'm not gonna be with him because I'm not gonna do myself a disservice or I know my needs aren't being met and I vocalize them right and I've given time for there to be progress and for things to change and it's not changing, then what am I with you for? Because if you care enough, then you will change those little things I'm asking you for. Like, I'm not asking you to buy me Chanel. I'm not asking you to spend crazy amounts of money on me or anything like that. I'm asking for something that is free, like affection. It's, you know, um, and again, as I said, I feel like oftentimes like women are, whether it's sexually, emotionally, they're afraid to say what they need. Like if you have a partner who's not satisfying you sexually, like you should be able to say, "Hey, this isn't working. Like I like it better when you do this," or "My vagina requires this before that," right? Or even as a man, like if your partner is not satisfying you the way you want to be satisfied, like we should create these spaces to be able to say what we need. And in those moments, I think it's not what you say, but how you say it, like you don't want to say it in a way that tears that person down or like makes them feel like, hey, all these things I've been doing for the last 10 months useless because you're not getting this one thing or you're not happy with this one thing, like I think it's important to be mindful of the way you say things and how it may affect the other person. Because I feel like no one, especially when you're in a caring relationship, wants to feel like you're lacking or you're not like doing your part. You're not making your partner happy in whatever sense. So It's extremely me personally, like, I feel like that's one thing I would never do away from. Like, I'm always gonna say how I feel. I'm always gonna say what I need. I'm just always gonna be that person who vocalizes what's working and what doesn't. Because I never want to get to a stage where I feel like, damn, I spent all these years with you and this is still missing, right? And then you invest all these years and so much time and so much history with someone just to wake up one day and be like, damn, I'm really not happy. So yeah, that reminds me of Judge Mathis's wife, like they were married for 39 years and she filed for divorce after 39 years, and a lot of her complaints were he wasn't really home. He's always on the road working or spending time with his friends. Um what else was she complaining about? I guess just feeling like that time aspect, that quality time and attention she wasn't being given to her. And allegedly, because only they know what was agreed upon or what was agreed to in their relationship. So, but allegedly, he had said after a certain amount of time or after he solidifies himself in a certain way, like he would make more time for her. And I guess he didn't do that. And so I guess that's what led to her filing for divorce. So again, me personally, if you saw after a certain amount of years, this man wasn't giving you what he promised would change or would be given to you after he got to a certain space, were these not things that were being spoken about? Like, hey, I'm still not getting this. Hey, we still need to spend more time together before bringing your business to the internet and on Front Street, right? Like, threatening to divorce someone to the point where he's like he's gonna fight for his wife. Like, should he even have to fight for his wife? Because why are you threatening him? Like, me personally, if Imma do it, Imma do it. Like, I'm not gonna threaten you, nothing. Like, I'm either gonna leave you or Imma stay. Point blank, period. But that's just gonna be between you and I. Like, the entire public doesn't need to know, like, what's going on, And then there were, like, allegations, I guess, of him kids involved, not in the sense that he had other kids with someone else, but like kind of like he was preying on children or whatever. Like, yeah, like because I mean, human nature, right? If there's trouble in someone's paradise and someone's fighting for divorce or whatever, or threatened, people are going to speculate. They're going to try to figure out why, like what's going on. And with any speculation, it's information that may not be correct. Like sometimes it's, oh, I heard this in the past, this rumor, and I'm just gonna add on to it because I need a reason as to why they're at odds right now. And like sometimes that could really be the straw that breaks the camel's back. I feel like anytime you bring anything publicly, it just amplifies the negativity. And not a lot of people can make it past that negativity, right? So, what was the question you had for me? Would you get back with someone who put your business on Front Street on the internet, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever?
Someone who embarrasses you like in public manner. Would
Mm.
you feel comfortable getting back with a person who basically puts your whole business out there and embarrasses you for not even for what it was? Like, how would you feel about that?
No, you gotta go. Like, you gotta go. Because I feel like any relationship, before we even get to certain space, we need to create the boundaries, right? If the boundary is we keep our stuff private, that's what we do. Doesn't matter if it's 2 years in, 20 years in. Like, there's certain things, if you violate those boundaries or those agreements, I personally just can't be with you. So I want to know, what would you guys do? Would you get back with that person if they embarrassed you publicly? Like, let me know your answer in the comments below, because I'm nosy and I just like to know like how people think sometimes, and also I need some engagement. Like y'all don't be commenting. Like, all right, let me not get on y'all today. Thank you to those who do, but I would like some more engagement. Um, Speaking of engagement, so I follow this guy, Anwar White, on TikTok, and Anwar calls himself your fairy. He's a dating coach. He's also married. I don't know what he calls himself, but I was scrolling through my TikTok and I saw some videos of his for some time now, and I chose two of them that I would like to speak about today. I'm hungry. And the first video was labeled Unlearning Dating Myths, right? And so I'm just going to go through each point, and my producer's going to chime in here. This is where he shines. He's ready to challenge these points. So, the first one, the myth is if I sleep with him, he's going to like me more. I don't know what woman even thought that was true, honestly speaking. Like,
So he's saying that.
so he said it actually makes him like you less, right? Because when you sleep with someone, there's a bonding hormone and receptors, they're going to decrease and he's going to feel less bonded to you.
I could agree.
You could
Like
agree.
it's like a post. It's like the post nut clarity. Like after you get that nut, it's like you get away from me. I don't want you next to me. So it's like the more you have sex with the person, you're not gonna be feeling that attached or connected. It's like you're gonna yarn them when you're not being able to see them as much as it's accessible. So it's
Hmm. The more you have sex with
like when you got a
someone.
girl who's an info and she just wants to have sex all the time, like it's not gonna be that much pleasurable for the man. I don't know much men that are pleasurable to that.
Well, then, I should have done No Nut November. I mean, technically, I'm on the No Nut November, so I'm gonna keep it going. Yeah. Um. Okay.
That's a thing. No nut November.
Yeah, for
Like
men.
men have no shave November.
Oh, I definitely did a man who did No Nut November.
Never heard that one before. That's
Well, you heard it now, and I'm doing it this month. Because apparently, if I keep having sex with my man, he's not gonna want me. He's gonna feel less
new.
bonded to me. So yeah, we don't need to bond anymore.
Good luck to your man right now.
Good luck to him, for real. I guess he gonna have to jack his meat because
Damn. Crucial.
you on your own,
Oh,
Papa.
the November. That's crucial for the
Listen, we're
health.
on day 10.
You heard it, homie. Listen, homie.
There's only 20 more days to go. He'll be fine. Just act like I'm on a long period. I want my period all month. Except my mom don't work either. Anyway, another myth. He says, don't go with the flow. Don't be demure in dating. Don't be considerate and mindful. Be self centered. Be Hispanic. Stress him out in a healthy way. And I couldn't agree more. Like, absolutely stress him the hell out. And when I say stress him, I guess in a healthy way with like your boundaries, your vulnerabilities, like
So I'm sorry to cut you.
What else is new?
No, I had to let it resonate a little bit. So
Okay.
he's saying to stress him out in a good way.
hmm
What could that possibly be?
I
How could
just
someone stress you out in a good way?
I just said be vocal with your boundaries, be vocal with your vulnerabilities, right? There are some men
So why does it
what
have to be stressing out? To stress someone out is not a good thing to do. Period.
because it's a
I can
challenge
understand adding a little pressure, but to stress someone out,
in a
that
good
that
way.
that word alone just like it just sets the whole message differently.
It's the challenge. Give him the challenge. Like
Then say
a
that. Don't
lot of
stress me
women
out. Who wants to be stressed out?
I agree. Stress him the hell out. Yeah. Be his panic.
See
Don't be
how
his
far that
peace.
goes.
Especially when dating. Because sometimes men take advantage of that. Like, hey, she's so easygoing. Like they feel like they can get certain things past you because you're so understanding, you're so easygoing, you're so quote unquote going with the flow.
But then you could apply a little pressure. It's not to stress them out. Just
Okay, we're
think
not
about
just
what
gonna
we're
focus on
saying.
that one word.
Yeah, but
Like
that's what you said. Stress them
that is
out.
what
So
we said.
so that's the message. Just stress them out.
Again,
So
use your
apply a little
brain
pressure.
and use
No,
discernment and figure out.
just gotta apply a little pressure. I could agree to that.
Well, too bad these aren't your miss, huh? Um, Final one. Don't only date and be hyper focused on one guy. He calls this thing the dating Olympics. Olympic dating, right? You should date 3 men at once.
Oh,
Obviously, before you're exclusive, there should be a gold member, a silver member, and a bronze member. And just to like, for context, like he also doesn't recommend sleeping with anyone
that
unless
just
if
sounds
you're
crazy.
very important point I'm making. Unless if you are exclusive. So obviously you're dating 3 different people, but you're not sleeping with any of them. And I completely agree with that point as well. Like,
That just sounds crazy.
how does that sound crazy?
Because you dating 3 different people at the same time. So you are kind of expecting the same kind of treatment from each.
No, you're not. This is why it's the Olympics. Hold on to your point. This is why it's the Olympics, right? There's a gold, a silver, a bronze. The point is, if you're at the bronze level, clearly there are things that you're not meeting up to. Like whether that is taking me out to dinner or getting to know me, having the deep conversations, like you're gonna cut yourself out. Like that is the point of it. Like a lot of women when they date, they only date one man at a time. So if that one man is not giving you the attention that you require, then guess what? You're gonna not be questioning yourself like,
All right, so all right,
do
so
men date one woman at a time?
we're not going there right
No, no,
now.
no. That's a
So
serious
wait,
question.
no. So let's say the 3 guys that you are dating are all on the gold level. Now, what are you going to do there?
Decide.
How are you gonna do? How? So that's where it becomes such a tainted decision because
No, it doesn't.
you got 3 gold levels.
Yeah. Okay. Who am I more attracted to? Who do I have more chemistry with? Like, who am I more compatible with?
They all have the gold.
No.
No silver or bronze. They're all gold.
And that's just with how they treat you or how you guys get along or the things they're doing. Again, you're going to have to cut someone off. Like, yeah, now I have 3 amazing men. Again, who am I most attracted to? Who can I actually, whose last name sounds the best with my first name? Like, just to be a little, a little humorous here, right? Like, there are factors you can choose to help you decide who you're going to stick with.
But that's the main thing, like the tainted part of the decision. Like, look
Which
at
is
what you
what
resorted to. Who name fits better with my name?
I just said, just to be a little humorous.
I get it, but it could be
That's
someone could
satire.
actually feel like that.
Well, sometimes it's really that simple. Like, okay, whose family do I see myself fitting into? Whose family values or core values mesh the best with mine? Like, you take it up the next level, and someone's gonna eliminate themselves, or you
I
eliminate someone, and then
I
you
just
move on
don't
to
think
two.
dating 3 men at the same time is a good idea.
I do want you to answer my question.
What
Do
is it?
men only date one woman at a time? Yes or no?
Yeah, they do date with some men do date more women at a time than others.
Majority. Let's
Majority of
speak
them do.
majority.
Yeah.
Majority of men
Majority
only
of
date
men
one
do.
woman at a
And
time.
they do that because they're weighing out their options.
So
Because
wait,
a man, are you gonna let me finish?
no, I'm sorry. I didn't hear it. Do you say majority of men do date one
Yes,
woman at a
they
time?
do.
Okay, I want y'all in the comments to let me know if this is true or not. As
They
a
do.
man, continue.
A man will be he can date like 2 3 women in the same night. Not saying that it's something easy to do, but there are men that can go on a date with you, then go on a date with another woman.
But you just
And
contradicted yourself
can I
because you
finish?
just said majority of men
Can I
only date one woman at a
I
time. But
didn't say
now you,
that.
yes, you did.
I thought you said if majority of men date more than one woman. So majority of men do that. They would be dating more than one woman because they want to weigh out their options.
So are women not allowed to weigh out their options as well?
It's a lot different dating in a woman and
How so?
men dating in women.
If we're just speaking and getting to know each other and spending time with each other, again, I promise this with you're not having sex with anyone, you're not physically intimate with anyone. So, what is the difference? Because half the time, a man is going to want to be intimate with all 3 of those women for him to even make his decision.
What?
Yeah.
How can we determine anybody sleeping with each other?
Let's talk
We're not
about.
gonna talk about the the levels of intimacy. We're just speaking on the dating aspect. If you want to get to the intimacy part, it can go there. But the dating aspect, if you are having this much decisions that you have to choose from, it's gonna taint your decision. So if you're trying to look for a husband,
So as a man, is it not the same thing?
it's
You
not.
dating multiple women is not going to taint your
It's
decision.
it kind of doesn't because you wait because you're dating for a different purpose.
How we dating for different purpose? This makes no sense. Honestly, I'm just gonna have you stop speaking right now because you just are not making any sense. To be quite honest with you, like
Okay,
you sound crazy. A man can date multiple
I'm not
women
saying he can't.
to weigh his options, but a woman can date multiple men to weigh her options. The double standard is crazy. Again, if there is no physical intimacy involved, why can't a woman weigh her options? Why must a woman pull everything and be hyper focused on one man, but that one man is out here dating three women, right? So if he decides tomorrow, guess what? You're not the one for me and drops you, then you're on your ass trying to figure out why the hell did he drop me? What did I do wrong? Whether rather than if he decides to drop you, you can say, okay, I have two other people to focus on. It's not even that much of a worry because I wasn't pouring my all into you. Like women, date multiple men, especially if you're single, and especially if you're dating to marry with intention. Date multiple men. It's really that simple. Because as you heard from him, there's absolutely no reason why you can't and why you shouldn't, but why a man can. It's a hard no.
You kind of let me finish, but we could.
You weren't making any sense. I tried to let you
I
finish.
didn't get.
You weren't really making any sense. So I'm not gonna let you run down my recording time not making sense. Um Well then, I'm gonna end on that hot take, and I know y'all. Here's my little debate. Y'all get to see how I really feel about these things. So let me know in the comments below, as a man or as a woman, what's your take on dating multiple people at one time if you're not physically intimate with any of them. All right, honesties. I will see you all next week. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and tell a friend to tune into the show. Alrighty, have a good week, y'all. Bye.